I forgot there's no countdown. Anyway. Hello! Welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Presented by Patriot Patch Company and Camerado.com. Ken, how are you?
I'm good. I got a nap today.
Hey, lucky. I did not get a nap. But I got a new motorcycle.
That's just what you needed. Another, just about as much as another hole in the head, right?
Hey, this was $5 and it runs. And it's comfy to ride on like my kid's crotch rocket. So, there you go. Now I just got to wait till next payday so I can pay the I'm robbing you tax on, you got a new bike. So, to the state. Because titling a vehicle in Wisconsin now is $210. Just for the title.
That sounds like a good deal.
Yeah. I remember when it used to be $50. But anyway.
Well, you could be as old as Paul and, remember when it was $2.95.
Or Jim when they didn't have titles.
Yeah. Back before blinkers were invented.
Mm-hmm. The only way people knew which way you were going was which way the horse flew. Anyway.
There were no such thing as road signs either.
No. Navigation by the sun. Just trying to figure out what sort of weird noise the dog was making. It is kind of nice now that it's still daylight, so I don't have to shut the dog door before the podcast. So. But why does that seem like Clifford Zach just said don't register in Florida money. So why is it that seems like a total Florida thing that you just don't register your vehicles?
Well, the only reason to register in Florida, and that's if it's a rental car, because then it's cheaper or whatever, at least it used to be. Rental companies used to always, rental car companies, every one of them had Florida plates because of the way it registered, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So they did what Whistling Diesel used to do. Register them in a different state to avoid the tax. So that's what got him in trouble. Or almost got him in trouble, I should say. But anyway. So what you been up to, Ken?
Went and competed at the Area 5 Championship this past weekend.
Where's Area 5? So what you been up to, Ken?
Just a second. Went and competed at the Area.
So damn good we had to hear it twice. Now you're muted. Raggle Fraggle, what are you doing here so early? Why is my pocket vibrating? Yeah, dogs are outside. You're still muted, Ken. Are you trying to figure out what window that opened in? Don't worry, you're not the first. You won't be the last. So, anyway, while Ken's busy doing that, I did a little 9mm reloading on my lovely Squaredale B. I better not tap that too hard. It'll change my pressure or my powder charge. But that's about it. Yeah. Nothing else really new and exciting. So. But went to it's a college summer league they've got up here called the Northwoods League. I went to a game on that for Sunday, so that was kind of fun. A little breezy.
Yeah. All right, so I got it. was going to try something, but then I realized there was going to be a delay, so I could actually watch the podcast on my tablet in the center and not have to stare off at the side screens. But that's not going to happen unless I go back to my tablet for the whole thing. So, anyways, I was at the Area 5 Championship this year, or this past weekend, where it was hot and humid. I gotta say, it was a bit of a shock to come home. I was, 84 degrees and very, air you could wear, to 64 degrees and a breeze with, that would kind of cool you off pretty quick. So, but anyways, I shot Air 5 Championship this weekend. I did fairly well. Didn't shoot the primary guns as well as I did at Worlds, but I still had a pretty good match with that. Since making GM, I'm less focused on those guns. I'm not focused on winning a division or anything like that, because at these major matches, I'm going to be up against, both two guys that, have won multiple world championships were in these guns were there. So I knew that they were going to meet me. I knew Jenna Larson was going to be there, and she's a teenage girl that is going to be able to, if she keeps going the way she's going, she's going to be competing with all the boys, and she's going to be beating them pretty soon. But I did fairly well in those. So overall finish is the key there. I was 20th in Rimfire Rifle Open out of 75 competitors, and then I was 11th in Pistol Caliber Carbine Open. Those are both my GM divisions. Those were good. Rimfire Pistol did all right. Finished 5th there out of 11. It was my throwaway gun. It was one I had. Yeah, I would have liked to have won master class in that, but honestly didn't expect to do that. I don't shoot it. I haven't been shooting it very well to begin with, and I don't shoot that one as much. So it is what it is. I did something I haven't done as much in the past, and I shot both rifles with irons. Main reason why I went down there with the irons this year, which I don't normally shoot irons on a regular basis. It's usually a filler gun. It's a throwaway gun, right? Sometimes it's just get a warm up before you get to the one you actually care about.
Yeah.
Or you're just, hey, I'm having a good time. It's a 3-day match. I want to shoot an extra gun or two. You pick up irons. But this year, I was focused on trying to. Well, congratulations, Raggle Fraggle, on your first match.
Yeah.
And almost everybody, it's unless you're a competitive shooter in the action shooting sports, your first USPSA match or Steel Challenge match is always going to be a shit show. So join the club. You're off to a good start. Trust me. Anyways, so I went with the irons. Now, beforehand, I looked at the match breakdown and noticed that there weren't going to be enough A-class PCC irons shooters to qualify for slots at Worlds. So I went ahead and shot a couple of quick matches. In fact, I came back from Worlds tired as hell, shot a match the next day after driving back, trying to get to M class, which there was going to be enough there. Fortunately, there was another match next weekend. I was able to go up from A to M. So I was competing in M class in PCCI and A class in RFRI, so rimfire rifle irons. I did not shoot the rimfire, so honestly, I expected to win rimfire rifle irons. Just knowing my skill level, even though I hadn't shot rimfire rifle irons at all this year, I honestly expected to do much better than I did. I did not shoot rimfire rifle irons. But it turned out that was probably not a bad thing, because I think it kind of tuned me up for the pistol caliber carbine irons, because I'm shooting those in the same flight. So I would shoot. So I was a first and middle shooter. So the first gun I would shoot was rimfire rifle irons.
Oh, okay.
And then everybody else in the squad would go for their first gun. Unless and sometimes they'd have two, sometimes they wouldn't. But anyway, so everybody else would shoot, and then I would go back to my PCC irons.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason why Mike is a little confused there is at local matches, we shoot both guns at the same time when you squad for two.
Right.
You cannot do that at a major match.
Well, that's no fun.
Well, no, the reason why is they don't want you to do one gun to really get ramped up for the next
Oh, yeah,
one.
I suppose.
So it's one of those things that it's more of let's make sure
Because
that
then
the
you've got a little bit of
competition
extra
is.
muscle memory going into the second one.
Yeah, so you're really warmed up for the one. Now, granted, it still plays into it, right? Even
Yeah.
with having 4 or 5 competitors between your first and second. And that's why I chose to shoot rimfire rifle irons first and then PCC irons second. Was I knew that the competition level at that A class was going to be easier to beat. I didn't need as good a score,
Mm-hmm.
right? Unless there was somebody that was, now I knew that there could be somebody like me who was going in and expecting to shoot at a master class level in that division, and you know, then I would have to beat that. But I knew I had the competition was a little bit lighter in rimfire rifle irons as far as like when you're playing the game of okay, what should I shoot? How should I shoot? So it made sense to do the rimfire rifle irons first.
Mm-hmm.
So I just could not shoot them well. I mean, I was shooting Bs. I think I had one. I had a personal best, which was a GM at so. But I was expecting to shoot A's and M's with a few GM runs. There were some stages very specifically. I knew that I wouldn't have to shoot outside of my ability to get a GM run, even with irons. But could not get it done. Was very disappointed with how I shot rimfire rifle irons. But I shot essentially what would be for me a near perfect match with the PCC irons. So there, I'm a master class shooter. Honestly, I expect to shoot. So gun for gun, rimfire rifle should be faster for most competitors in most situations than their PCC. They tend to be a little bit lighter of a gun. You definitely have a little bit less recoil, so it's
Right.
just a little easier to get that speed and get the quick sight picture and take the shots. For whatever reason, I couldn't do it with the rimfire rifle. I mean, I was way behind where I was with the PCC. Now, for context on how I shot the PCC irons, right? So I shot, I believe, 88, like 88 and 87% of peak, right? So in Steel Challenge, you have a peak time, and it depends on what gun and what division you're shooting, and that peak time will change. So, if you're drawing from a holster and you're shooting carry optics, it's different than it is from limited optics. It's different than it is from limited. It's different from PCCO or whatever. So each one is slightly different, and so you have that peak time, and depending on how you are set up compared to that peak time, that depends on your classification. Now, until recently, I was a master class shooter in both of the rifle optic divisions.
Mm-hmm.
So a good match for me was 86 to say 87%.
Mm-hmm.
I shot 87 and 88 in this match. Now, Worlds, I actually shot 89 and 90% of peak in those divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, go back to I don't shoot irons a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
shot 89% of peak time in the world's at Area 5 with my PCC irons. All right. Now, I have shot master level at a match with that gun and those sights. Um, so I knew I could shoot master level, and that was the goal, right? Going into the match was if I can shoot 85 or 86%, I'm going to put myself in a good position because most shooters shoot matches below their classification. So most M class shooters are going to shoot A class matches. Now,
Uh-huh.
as you get up there towards the top end of your classification, where you're shooting, where you're getting close to breaking to that next level, you tend to start shooting higher level matches,
Yeah.
right? So I was going into it like I know I can shoot an M class match. I've done it before. If I can go in and shoot, an M class match for this match, that's great. So now M class is 85 to 95%
Yeah.
of peak time, right? Whatever the peak time is, it's 85 to 95% of that time. So I'd shot it at 85%. I knew that was a master. I would have actually been okay, happy with like 84, right? 83 would have been, well, I definitely could have done better, but 84 would have been well within the. I shot it at 89% of peak time. And usually if I go through and I look at my times and I'm like, okay, I could have done that a little better. That one was, and I can usually find, 2 to 3 seconds in a match where I feel I could have reasonably shot better. Like I couldn't find that looking at those totals, right? I mean, I may have been able to find a second, maybe a second and a half, but it would have been unreasonable to expect for that because you're going to have ups and downs in a match. You're never going to shoot the best you're ever going to shoot. And I still had, I think, 4 stages in PCCI that were personal bests.
Mhm.
So, you know, it was absolutely probably the best single match or single division I have ever shot. Now I've shot better and faster
Yeah.
um, with some guns. I was pretty close to that at Worlds with PCC optics. There were I could have the big one was is I left a second and a half on outer limits at Worlds. Easily could have shot left a second and a half.
Yeah.
Now outer limits is a tough stage. It's an easy one. So outer limits is definitely a stage. Some stages you can't win matches on. You can lose them, but you can't win them, right? Because
Mhm.
there's the difference between a good stage and a bad stage. The time is so narrow,
Right.
right? With outer limits, you can win this. You can potentially win a match on outer limits, right? You can lose it on any stage. Doesn't matter what stage it is. You can lose the match on any stage. With outer limits, right? You can win it, right? So you can basically gain time on all the faster stages on outer limits, right?
Mhm.
And I left a second and a half easy on outer limits for that, and that definitely affected my overall standings. It is what it is. You're going to have bad stages, and that was a bad stage for me. I mean, it was. I could definitely shoot it faster. It was definitely a bad stage. I mean, it wasn't catastrophic. It wasn't like I shot it. I shot it in 1399. It wasn't like I was at 15, 16 seconds, which is just horrendous. I mean, I still
Mhm.
shot it at an A level. In fact, it was my only non master class run or better for that match.
Yeah.
So that was where I was at. So yeah, I was really happy with how I shot the irons with on the pistol caliber carbine. It was one of those things that yeah, I was
Well, especially
peacocking a
considering
little
you
bit
don't
after that
shoot
one.
irons normally.
No, I don't. Now I will say that so I switched up. So I had been running these sights that I have here. I don't have this sights with me. So this is the front post of the sight I've been running. This is
Yeah.
a this is Magpool's Mobius. Now I switched out this part because it was just a black post.
Yeah.
Um, Now, when you're shooting for speeds, you want good high visibility on that front post. Now, I switched it out for what we're called. They're called Bratchert Game Changers. They're more. They're similar to what you would normally see, like kind of most iron sights. So it's a double fiber optic on the back where you get green in the back and a red fiber in the front. And the red
Yeah.
fiber in the front is very, very bright. Now, I don't use the rear sights. So, like the rear sights, when I'm getting a sight picture, the only thing I care about the rear sights is I can that they register in my in my eye, right? I
Yeah.
don't care if they're clear. I mean, if they're canted like this or something like that, then obviously something wrong. So if I'm looking down the sight, as long as there's two dots of green that are kind of there and they're kind of level,
Yeah.
it's good enough, right? So I'm shooting that front post almost like a red dot.
Okay.
So because you're trying to shoot for speed, and if you're looking at trying to get a good sight picture, you're never going to do it with that setup because you're spending too much time trying to get that red thing in between. And so what I do is I hold kind of like the green. It's kind of almost like when I'm moving, it's a green line. So I hold the red post just above the green line.
Okay.
And so I'm doing the transitions and stuff like that. So am I backwards in this? Because it feels like I am, but
Nope.
okay.
No. Ret mark is very, very readable.
Okay. It just feels like I kind of have to go over here to. I suppose I could talk with this hand to be a little bit better. Anyway, so you're not really you're not using the rear sight much.
Yeah.
So I was very happy with how I shot. It was, like 4.04 seconds faster than any match I'd ever shot with irons before.
Wow.
That is a massive amount of time in Steel Challenge. That is well, for world class shooters that might be a whole stage. Not for me. Some of my best stages are in the high sixes, like 6.8, something 6.9, somewhere in there. But yeah, that was my weekend.
Awesome. So Clifford asked a little while back, "Hey Mike, do you get that hourglass look when you reload 9mm?" Nope. No hourglass here.
Actually, you have a bit of an hourglass. I can see it. You're down at the bottom. So especially if you're reloading,
it's not pronounced like a lot of people's, I should say.
No. So here's what most likely most people are dealing with is
because I've seen some really bad.
Yeah. So that's usually a lot of times called Glock bulge. Glocks are horrendous for it, but they're not the only pistol that will do it. So most guys that are reloading once fired brass for competition, right, especially at a high level, they're going to be roll sizing their brass.
Mm-hmm.
And that will get rid of the hour. That will greatly reduce or
a bulge buster.
Yes. So essentially, you're going to roll size it. I don't do range found brass on my own. I buy my brass used, once fired, whatever, because I prefer to buy it deprimed. Because usually, if I'm running it on the automated, one of the stations that I have the most problems with is the priming one. So I tend to have occasional issues with that. And so I tend to just, buy primed, once fired, roll sized brass. It's going to go up, unfortunately, but you can still find it for about 4 cents a pop. It's worth it is 100% worth for what I'm shooting. Like, it is worth 100% just to buy it versus to find it, clean it, deprime it, then run it. Just because, I've loaded about 5,000 rounds this year.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess there's a little bit of one, but not as bad as I've seen them.
You probably wouldn't see it with the naked eye, but you put it up in the camera and I can see it.
Right. Yeah, because I've got the background behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Raggle Fraggle, amazingly enough on the square deal, I don't. I do not get a ring from the cedar. I don't know why, but I don't.
Raggle Fraggle, are you using a Hornady? Because I have if I'm loading, like doing like load testing and like I'm
Hmm.
doing something a little different, I will use the Hornady for seating and crimping on my single stage,
Yep.
right? And I'll get it there. So the ring on the bullet seater is how the bullets interacting. Now I would think the Hornady might be a little bit better and not give you that if you've got a flat top.
So the way you can avoid that, get yourself a hot glue stick. And what you do is you put some glue into the cedar, into the stem, and then you push the bullet down into it.
So yeah, I don't know about the RCBS, but I know the Hornady
Yeah.
die, which I use just for. I'm going to taking it to the range just to do. It's a small load. I'm loading 10, 20 rounds. You know, and it's going to be a new bullet that I don't necessarily want to go through and tune my bullet feeder for.
That's funny.
Well, he's not wrong.
Nope. Tommy Boy 3334 said epoxy works better than hot glue. This is true.
Yeah, if you're using a Hornady, I guarantee
I guarantee Ken
it's the
froze.
Hornady die. It's a deal unless you're. What's up?
You froze for a sec.
Oh,
He said it doesn't bother him enough to fix it. Yeah, it usually doesn't affect bullet performance.
it's not. I mean, if you were
You can get
doing
different
if you were doing
stems for the
bullseye
Hornady
shooting,
die.
then yes, you're going to want to deal with it. But
Yeah, you can get different stems for the Hornady dies too.
yeah,
They make different cedar stems for them if it's a big deal, but most people just use the glue gun or the epoxy. So, but yeah, I think my Hornady dies on my 550 when I was doing it on the 550 did that. So, but yeah, it doesn't bother enough. So I got an email from from Russ, Alaska Russ, who's busy giving me crap. He said, my IntelliDropper has started having the display weight drifting. I have run many rounds through it, so I can't complain. Not much anyway. It is used exclusively for plinking ammo, so extreme accuracy wasn't primary concern, but still needed consistency, which he gave me. Originally had an RCBS electronic dispenser, but it was short-lived and replaced with the IntelliDropper. RCBS was probably somewhat my fault, as I'm sure if I would have contacted them, they would have taken care of the issues. He's loaded thousands of rounds with the IntelliDropper with no complaints. No major complaints. Bottom line is I'm going to have to replace the IntelliDropper, hoping the peanut gallery could have a short discussion on the electronic powder dispensers, as I'm sure there are a ton of new ones out there and available. No hurry on the discussion as I don't have money to replace immediately, just hoping for some guidance and directions towards the replacement. Hoping one of the podcast members may have had some experience with the 2.0. Looking for that fine line between expense and quality, which nowadays is a never-ending battle. So,
contact the manufacturer. First step is contact. Say, hey, I've got this problem.
yeah,
Right?
contact Frankfurt Arsenal.
They may well just replace the damn thing for you.
Yep, that's going to be my first suggestion, Russ. So, contact Frankfurt Arsenal. The other thing is if you have a can of compressed air, which I know you're up in BFE, Alaska, so it's probably not an option. But blow it out. So,
Yep.
um,
You could just have a kernel that is, take it down as far as you can without like doing screws,
yeah,
right? And then just hit it with a can of compressed air. I wouldn't use your air compressor.
too
That
much
would be
moisture.
bad. And maybe too much pressure.
Yeah.
and hit it with a can of compressed air. That would be the first two steps I would go with. Um,
Oh, look, there's powder in here. So make sure this is nice and clean. This comes out, and sometimes you
Look
can
into
get
the bottom
powder
of that. You
kernels
may
down in
have
there,
something stuck in the bottom of the
like that.
that plate you pulled.
Like I now have powder kernels down in the bottom because I pulled this out and then tipped it, and there was still powder in the tube.
Yeah. Also, check the plate itself and make sure there's not powder jammed up in there or something, or dust bunnies or whatever. You've loaded thousands of rounds. It could be any number of things.
Yep.
If that doesn't do it, take a come on, Mike, light it. Take now you can use a cotton swab, but I would recommend if you've got like I've got some of them. They're cotton swabs, but they're for cleaning lenses.
Yeah.
Because so they don't leave a fiber residue behind. Some the highest grade alcohol you can get your hands on, 99% or denatured completely, or you can use the 93. It would be fine. But
Or if you know some locals that make moonshine.
yeah, so you want to get it, and then just take and clean it out real good, right? So you might have like contamination that is causing it to stick just a little bit, and it doesn't take much, right? It doesn't take anything. We're talking just like a light film of something that might be causing it to stick, and give it a good wipe out with some alcohol, and and try cleaning it that way. Okay, and if all that fails and Frankfurt Arsenal won't send you a new one, fill it up with tannerite, take it out back, and put it to bed.
Yep.
That sound right, Mike?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Raggle Fraggle, you didn't get DQ'd. It's a win.
That's right.
Like your first match, your goal is not get DQ'd.
Yep. That is the goal, to not get DQ'd. Okay, so the other thing that Russ emailed me about, and I also got, is Hodgdon created a thing called the articles page. So I'm going to share this. Cookie settings. So this is their new page. And so they're going to have different articles that you can read about. They've got the Hodgdon history, different things like CFE Black here, environment cartridges. And so it's just going to be kind of a different, interesting things. They've got different topics broken up. They're going to have a tip section. So here is an explanation on smokeless powder burn rates. So kind of goes into that. What?
I said, ooh, 24 Nosler.
Hi, Todd. You're muted, so you just got to remember to unmute yourself. Yeah, so talking about different things there. And obviously, they have the link for the RDC up there, talking about alternatives to book published 9mm small pistol primers. Interesting. Talking about how different primers will affect things. So yeah, this is it's got a bunch of different articles here. So it's another little resource from Hodgdon. Just wanted to kind of share that about.
So Raggle Fraggle, if after we're done talking with Todd, if you're still around, be more than willing to go over your stage results with you.
Yeah. So Tommy Boy 3334 said, if it's drifting, the cheap China load cell is the problem. Probably. So, but yeah, Russ, clean it up and then give Frankfurt Arsenal a call. So it may be out of warranty, but maybe they fix it for $20 or $30. So then it's worth it. So, Todd.
Yes.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm one of those lucky ones that lives out here in California and try to battle all those laws that we have. Currently, now that my 5 kids are grown, I don't have to reload as much for them as I do for myself. Everybody asks, well, how much do you reload? I'm probably up there with a Milsurp deal, about 35 calibers right now, ranging from, obviously 223, 556. I've got some strange ones that I got to work everything on. 6.5 Gibbs. Yeah, a little bit different. 7.5 Moss. So I go all over the place. As far as shooting wise, disciplines, I do cowboy shooting. That's what got me into reloading and going through that quite a bit. And then just kept adding rifles and other pistol calibers and just at the range, usually every week, trying something out, trying something new. Just have fun.
Nice.
So, yeah, when you got 5 kids and all of them like to shoot, you go through a lot of ammo.
Yeah. Yeah, thankfully I only have 2. I still went through a lot of ammo, so.
Yep.
The number of parents I see at matches that aren't shooting because their kids, they got to buy guns, they got to buy ammo, they got to buy, all that. And
yeah,
parents tend to lose out on the fun when it comes to that stuff.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's what I found out too. It was always when they would go with me to the range to shoot, they'd shoot 100, 200 rounds, and I might shoot 10. Watching them, enjoying them shoot. And when you got a 10-year-old that shoots everything on his, after a couple tries from a 22 to a 45 ACP, you got a kid that likes to shoot.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. So that's kind of how you got into you said you got into reloading through cowboy action shooting.
Yep, still do it.
All right. So first question.
Okay.
Your handle.
Tiny Tim.
Awesome. How'd you come up with that?
My middle name is Timothy, and I've always been a smaller guy, so it was just kind of something to go with, and it stuck. So
cool. It's always fun to see how people come up with their
handles. Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually I'm going to get into it, but I actually now have if I do 22, I have the guns to be able to do it now because I have a pump action 22 rifle. Yeah. I have a Ruger single 6, and then I have a 1887 knockoff 12 gauge. So,
okay. Yeah.
So
what I use, I've got a Chippewa barkeep in 4440 that I use every now and then. It's got a very light trigger pull on it, so it's a little touchy at times.
Uh-huh.
Two Blackhawks, one a 3-screw flat top, and both of them in 357. So obviously I shoot 38s in those.
Yep.
Blackhawk and 45 Colt. So I'll rotate between them which ones I want to use. My lever action is a Marlin 93.
Nice.
That one was passed down from my father-in-law to me, and it was his great uncles that they carried on the wagon trains. And
wow.
And that's in 3840. And
nice.
then I just got a Stevens 311 that I use double barrel.
Yeah.
So nothing fancy on the shotgun. I've got a 97 that I'll use every now and then, depending on what we're shooting. So
yeah, I picked up a Norinco 97, but I haven't got it yet. It's the normal, not the trench version. So
yeah.
But I actually have a Stevens 311 too. I didn't even think about using that. Yeah, that was my grandpa's.
Yeah, as long as they don't have auto ejectors, you're fine. Just
yeah.
So and a lot of the stages are designed more for the double barrels than they are for the 97. Just how they're set up.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
So here's my question.
Okay.
Somebody wants to get in. They don't know if they're willing to commit to cowboy action.
Okay.
Right? What minimum do they need?
A good attitude. And the reason I say that is you show up and say, hey, I'd like to try this. Unless it's a major match, you'll have guys there that'll say, okay, I'll let you try it one time with my guns and see how you like it. And we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, that's the shooting sports in general.
Yeah.
But like you're going to give it a real try, right? I'm planning on shooting a couple of matches, right? So I'm guessing a shotgun.
Either a double barrel shotgun or a 97. That's the only pump action shotgun allowed. Okay. 2 single action revolvers and a lever action rifle in a pistol caliber.
In a pistol caliber. Okay. So 22 or 9.
Most major caliber and most matches, they only allow 22s for the buckaroos, so the kids.
Okay.
So center fire for everything.
Yep.
And most calibers,
45, 357.
You don't see many 9s, just usually 357, 45 Colt. And then you have the oddballs like me who shoot 3840 or 4440. We'll use the older ones that we like. But real common is the 38 special.
Yeah.
In both revolvers and the lever action.
Okay.
So you're shooting, your 357
for your single actions.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it's a minor match, just a normal club match, you may not need the holsters because they'll just have you load at the table, take everything over the table, and go from there.
So you're doing a table draw versus a holster.
Yeah, you're doing a table draw, which is common. Okay. Especially if you're a first timer, they'll have you do that. They're not nobody's too keen on you drawing from a holster, live fire, and just to be safe for the first time.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes can be made with new shooters and I know that from USPSA and
right.
Steel Challenge. A lot of times people show up at Steel Challenge and they've got their carry gun and they're like, and they may even have the proper holster, but a lot of times we'll just have them shoot from low ready, just like the 22 shooters. So right. There's no issue, and it's because it's the first time you're shooting. It's about having fun. It's about not getting DQ'd. It's about I mean, I don't care what shooting sport it is. Your first goal is to not get kicked out of the match.
That's right. Second goal is to not finish last.
And that one's really not all that important, right? Listen, if there's 30 shooters and you're 29th, and you didn't get DQ'd, that is good. You did really well.
I have yet to finish even in the top 5, and it's all about going out there and having fun with everybody. It's you're out there shooting guns with guys that like doing the same thing. So
now, are you using?
Go ahead, Mike.
Are
No.
you using both pistols at the same time?
It depends. There is a class called duelist where you can, but typically a lot of times most people shoot one and then the other.
Just
So-
because you need that many shots for the stage?
No, it's the same number of shots. So you'll shoot, say, usually they're 10 shot stage. So if you're a duelist and shooting two at once, you'll just say it's one of the sweeps, and it's one shot, 2 shot, 3 shots, 4 shots, which come with the 10. Then you'll just keep alternating back and forth as you go through.
Okay.
So, whereas the other guys are gonna, ideally, they're gonna have a holster for each pistol. They'll draw one, shoot, and it's instead of reloading, you draw the other one and shoot. Right.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I've watched some of the videos, and some of those guys are. It's kind of impressive how fast. I mean, they've got to be tricking out those triggers, and like especially on the lever guns. Like it almost looks like they're work action, and as the lever gun comes back to the fire position, they're just holding the trigger. That's what it looks like?
It's what it looks like. I haven't figured that one out yet.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm assuming that they're tricking out. They're messing with the trigger. It's a modified trigger, right? Which we do know that the old cowboy action, like a lot of those pistols, where they were doing a lot, especially the old like show guys, like the guys that were traveling with Wild Bill Cody. Is that traveling show? Is what I think is
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill Cody. Yeah.
Yeah, Buffalo Bill. They're doing that. They're traveling. So they're modifying those firearms to a point to, realistically, if you were carrying that every day and you were a sheriff or an outlaw, you'd end up shooting yourself. But in the confines of what they're doing, they're it's reasonably safe because they know exactly what they're doing. They're not drawing it from they're doing the various steps, right? So. And we do know that safety is probably much more emphasized now than it was probably back in those days.
So on the olden days, there was two things that they did. Typically, they would wire the trigger back, but you always carried it on an empty cylinder.
Correct. And even cowboy shooting now, you load 5, and when you start, you're on an empty cylinder.
Okay.
Even though, like the Rugers that I use, they still have the transfer bar, and you can load 6, and you won't have a chance of a misfire if the hammer happens to drop. But because that's the way they did it, that's the way we continue to do it.
Yep.
And it could, it very well transitions into a lot of guys will use original equipment. So you will see, original Colts out there that, I watched, this is way back when I first started back in the early 90s, an Aussie guy walked out for the stage with a double rig on with all kinds of silver inlays on it, 2 brand new pristine Colts. He probably had about $5,000 around his waist, and he was good. Right.
Yeah. So Raggle Fraggle wants to know what your draw and holster setup is.
I'm still so cheap. I use the one I started with 25 years ago. So I've got a right side draw, and then for my second pistol is a cross draw. And I just haven't had a reason to change. Both pistols fit very well, so it works.
Now, with the pistol, I can use it's single action, right? Only. Right. But can I use a modern single action only, or is it?
When you get to some of the bigger matches, the nationals or whatever, they'll divide you up into stages. So if you're using the Ruger Blackhawks, they'll have one for single action modern sights as opposed to single action fixed sights. And so you can use more of the modern weapons. It doesn't matter.
Okay. They just at the higher levels they split it up so it maintains parity.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. So modern side now. Can you use a double? Can you use an over under?
No, only
No.
side by side.
Only side by side. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I've
I'm
actually got a
assuming if
couple
you
of
showed up with
powders
an
over
over
here.
under at a local match, they're not going to stop you from using it.
Probably not. You'll get laughed at, but yeah, they'll let you
Well,
go.
if you show up and say I'm a new shooter and they start laughing at you, you showed up at the wrong club. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah.
I'd be willing to bet. And you're a new shooter now. If you've been shooting for a while and you show up with your over under because you grabbed the wrong gun, you deserve to get picked on.
Yes.
Mhm.
Very much so.
Listen, I walked to the line at Worlds and walked up the line. I had the right gun, but the 9mm mags were not going to work into the 22 rifle.
I can see a problem with that.
I caught a little bit of flack as I had to run back to my cart to grab the right mags.
Yeah. No, I think the best I did was I showed up with 45 Colt ammo to try and stuff it into my 38s.
That's not going to work.
Nope.
Were you lucky enough to have somebody that on the range had
38.
Oh, yeah. Everybody brings extra.
Now, here's a question. Can you start cowboy action without reloading?
Sure. Just costs a little bit more.
Okay.
Then you're shooting full power. So, everybody, when you're reloading, what they call a powder puff loads, you're loading just enough to get it out the barrel and to travel 40 feet maybe. And if on the opposite side of where in a couple of the other disciplines you have power factor, you can't go over a certain amount. You have to stay under, I remember it's 1,200 feet per second on 45 and a little bit about the same for 38. These guys, we're shooting, if you're lucky on the 38s, maybe 600 feet per second. And they're really light loads.
So what green weight are you running on the 38s?
Usually it's a 125 over about 4.5 grains of trail boss.
Okay, so I load 100 grain 9mm. Well, I'm running they're 38 bullets, but it's 9mm. In a 9mm, so 38 bullet, 100 grain is what I've been running recently. I'm going to go up to the 115s, but I've been running 100 grains at about 1,200 feet per second, right? Through a PCC. Now, granted, the recoil at that point, I mean, I can get it lighter recoil impulse, but it really doesn't do you any benefit. And, I'm shooting out to 35 yards. So that bullet getting out there quick and indicating that hit is the faster the bullet gets there, the sooner I can confirm and don't have to worry about making a makeup shot. So, but just to kind of give people comparison, when he's talking 124 grain bullet at 600 feet per second, that is exceptionally slow for a 124 grain bullet, right? That is just kind of just realizing. So, like, I mean, that's comparable to like 150 grain 9mm bullet, with a low end load. It is kind of impressive that you're shooting it that slow with that weight of a bullet.
Hey, I'm checking just to make sure I have my numbers right.
I mean, I believe it because you don't need the speed. You don't I believe it. It's just impressive that it's that low. I mean, you're not using the bullet you just need the energy to get out the barrel and get down range. You don't need it to articulate the action like you would with a pistol.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's still impressive that it's coming. So, and you're only doing 40 foot. So the difference between 600 foot per second and 1,000 foot per second in human perception is nothing. Now, 150 grain moving at 650 feet per second at 35 yards, I can watch the bullet. I can see the bullet travel downrange, right? I mean, it's still really, really fast. And if the light's not right, then I'm not going to see it. But there, if the light is, and it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but I can kind of like there. It's interesting because a lot of times I've called shots on essentially seeing where the bullet was going and just went ahead and continued shooting, but even before the bullet hit the target, because my eye perceived the vapor trail off of the bullet, and yeah, it's impressive when you're loading it that low. I mean,
and it's easier to see the 45 when you're doing that. You got that bigger bullet going down.
Because it's going to be heavier, right? It's even at the same speed.
Yeah,
it disrupts the air, and you don't really see the bullet, right? You see the disruption of the air, right? I mean, you might, depending on where you're standing, but usually if you're shooting, and you're trying to shoot fast and you're trying to process everything in the brain, you're not really seeing the bullet. You're really seeing more of the disruption of the pollen, just moisture in the air that your eye picks it up.
Yeah, but it is something like you're saying, when you're shooting, is one of my other favorite guns to shoot and load for is my 45-70 out of my Danish contract rifle. And when you're loading that with Trail Boss and it's traveling 800-900 feet per second and you're shooting at 100 yards, hearing that bang and then waiting for that steel and hear the clang later, it's like, yeah, that's moving slow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, my question is that 124 grain bullet moving at approximately 600 feet per second, is the felt recoil about the same as a 22 or less? Because honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. It's actually less than shooting a 22.
It's probably about the same. Maybe a slight bit more, but it's, because about the only 22 pistol I have that I normally shoot, so 22 Ruger
Mark 4, Mark 3.
Well, it's a Mark II, but yeah, with the bull barrel, so I don't feel anything out of that.
No, it's more of a vibration in the gun than it is. Like you'll feel a little bit in the grip where if you don't have a good grip or whatever, it might move your grip a little bit, but it's not recoil, right?
No, it's not. And for the 38 that slow, no, you're not feeling anything. It's definitely one of the guns, one of the loads I'd have, a newbie start off on, because it's slow, so light and so soft. And with shooting it out of the Blackhawks, with the way the recoil works anyway, they're designed to roll in the hand a little bit. It's not a straight back recoil impulse. It makes it even better.
See, that would take a little bit of use for me, is because I'm used to more of a that would be, and that's. But I don't shoot a lot of revolver. So Steel Challenge added. They're revolver divisions in Steel Challenge, of course, but they added 22 revolver as a provisional division officially this year. It will get approved, but it's one of those that it looks like fun.
So they do have power factor listing. I went and found the SAS regulations.
Right.
Maximum velocities are 1,000 feet per second for revolvers and 1,400 feet per second for rifles.
Anything on shotgun?
Shotgun.
I'm assuming you're shooting all birdshot anyways, but
yeah, it's all birdshot.
They do any buckshot or slug shooting in any of these matches?
Not that I've seen. Doesn't mean they don't do it on some of the matches at some of the other places, but I've never seen it.
Shotgun size must be number 4 lead birdshot or smaller for all events. No steel or plated shot. Magnum and high velocity shotgun shells are not allowed.
Basically, don't beat up our equipment, please.
Yep.
Yeah.
And shotgun shells shall not be sized down, neck down by the use of any die not manufactured for a specific gauge. Cone shotgun ammunition is not allowed. Shotgun shell shall not be scored, ringed as to cause the shot shell case, wad, and shot column to be shot from the firearm as one projectile. Pump and lever actions are not allowed to load more than 2 live rounds at a time in the main stage matches. Okay.
So how many matches, so if you wanted to shoot as much as you could shoot, money's not a problem. How many matches in your area can you shoot in a given month?
Every weekend.
Every weekend. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
do you shoot? Yeah, you're lucky enough to get to shoot every weekend for the most part?
No, because I've got other interests that I don't say take precedent, but I also umpire Little League Baseball. So from March until July, I'm busy Saturdays, Sundays umpiring. I was lucky enough last year to go to Missoula to umpire the senior girls softball regional, and the year prior to Bend, Oregon for the boys junior regional. So starting next week, I'm umpiring again every day for a month and a half. So it cuts into that a little bit. That's my one way to give back to help out the kids.
So so it's your winter sport.
My winter sport,
Shooting.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I guess. Here in
I
California.
don't know where you're at in California. So
Well, that's why I said winter sport. What, California? Yeah. We don't have a winter. I mean, we're not as bad as San Diego where, during the wintertime, our shorts just get about an inch longer. I mean, we do wear pants during the wintertime. Maybe a sweatshirt.
That's the Southern Shooters and Steel Challenge. They unfortunately they tend to get to pick when, because they're the guys that run. Southern Shooters are the guys that get to run World Speed Shooting Championship, right? And they want to have it earlier in the summer because they've been shooting all winter.
Right. Yeah,
and we've been off for 4 months, and just getting back into it, and really only been shooting for a month and a half.
Yeah. What is that white stuff? We don't know that.
It's the stuff that's on the top of the mountains, way off in the distance.
Yeah, I do see it.
It's on the top of Big Bear.
What's that?
I said it's that stuff on the top of Big Bear.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there's a 4-month period where I'm not shooting at all, and like this year, just because of weather, I was hard to get back into match condition before World Speed Shoot. And these guys are all, and of course, they don't want it at the end of summer because they all start taking it because it gets too damn hot to shoot down there.
Yeah.
And they don't want to shoot in the summer, so they take the summer off. And so when we'd prefer to be shooting, come September, August, September would, be perfect. They're like, no, we're just getting back into it. We've been off for 3 months.
Right. Yeah. And we may not shoot in the rain because we're lazy, kind of a thing. We don't want to deal with the rust. So
that depends. That Steel Challenge, that's going to be club dependent. There's one club that if it ain't lightning, and I shared there's a video out there. You can find it probably on Facebook if you look up for Lance Bratchert, competitive shooter from Worlds. At one point, they stopped it long enough. They stopped the shooting for probably about 20 minutes because the rain was so hard. But so we have these boxes. They're usually made of wood. Sometimes the people use PVC that they put together, and that's the shooting area where we're shooting from. The water was coming over the top of the box. Right, it's a wood box that's set on the ground and then spiked in so it stays in place. But there wasn't enough flow underneath the box for the water to drain away. It was coming up to the top of the box at one point. Fortunately, I didn't have to shoot in that crap, but there were some guys that did. I was done shooting for the day at that point, so I had lucked out. In fact, during that rain, I was driving back to the hotel so I could take a shower and change, because it was Alabama and I'm up here in Wisconsin and I'm not used to that kind of weather. High 80s, low 90s, 80, 90 to 95% humidity. Of course, those guys were at 100% humidity at that point, but
right.
Yeah. So, what other advice would you give a new cowboy action shooter?
New cowboy? Don't don't worry about the costume. That's a big part of it. You can build that out as you go along. If you show up in tennis shoes, jeans, and a t-shirt, as long as you got the guns are willing to try, you're good to go. For the first couple of years, all I had that I bought cowboy wise was a old style shirt, and I wore regular blue jeans, and was just fine. You get to the bigger matches, they'll have costume contests and all kinds of things, and it's always fun to see who dresses up the best or the most original kind of costume. So
Now, in the costume contest, just kind of curious, is what tends to do better? Like cowboy, but turned up to 11, or we're going for a perfect 10 in authenticity.
the
Which
answer
one's
to that is yes.
okay? So it really depends. Do you want are you the guy that wants to be 100%, or do you guys want to be the guy that wants to your personality wants to show?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It runs the whole way across. You got people who are just starting. You've got the basic stuff all the way up to the guy who spent $600-700 getting everything authentic, to somebody who found everything to be very colorful and be noticed. Is the best way to put it.
Okay, so there's a guy. His name is Sci-Fi Cowboy. I don't know if he actually shoots cowboy action. I do know he shoots Steel Challenge, but he does it with all the cowboy action stuff. So he's got
Wow.
he's got a 9mm lever action rifle that he shoots PCC in. He's got I don't know what calibers his revolver's in, but they're all single action, old school style revolvers. Where if he's got to reload on the, he's got to have some kind of speed loader option for that, because people would kill him if we were standing for him turning and
yeah,
bullet at a time. But because that would be a lot of time just sitting around waiting for him to finish shooting. But yeah, he shoots like old school stuff, and he's got he's got the flamboyant outfit with the hat, and it across the back of his shirt says Sci-Fi Cowboy. I believe it says it's on the arm, stuff like that. So
yeah.
I assume the guy shoots cowboy action, but
Yep, it's all there. It's fun to see what people come up with and just have fun with it. As long as it's safe and doesn't interfere, you're good to go.
We shoot trap year round up here in Wisconsin. So
yeah, the trap is. But you show up in your the same stuff. The same clothes you shoveled the sidewalk off. Yeah,
yep.
And you just go. You shoot trap.
Yeah.
And you might go take the heavy coat off long enough to shoot your rounded trap and put it back on. And of course, trap in Wisconsin is an excuse to go and fire some guns and then go to the bar, because most of the trap clubs all have bars attached to the trap.
So what you're saying is they're a drinking team with a shooting problem?
Well, they shoot first, so I'm not sure if that's right, but
yeah, that's true. It's not like my softball teams where we were a drinking team with a softball problem. So.
Okay, most adult softball teams that have that kind of issue are drinking during the matches. So,
and before you got a pregame.
Yeah. Listen, I've seen softball matches where they have a keg at every base.
I've played in softball matches where they've had a keg at every base on the ice in the winter. That's even more entertaining.
You're sliding into home for a little bit easier, huh?
Yeah, you got to put up a snowbank for a backstop.
The
I'm
Silver Lake's
not
there for as a
kidding.
backstop because the guy, by the time the guy's coming to home, he's probably had 3 beers plus the ones he was drinking before.
Well, see, it all
So
depends on how
he's
long you're on base.
yeah.
So, and what rules you're playing, because there are rules where if it's a pot fly, you have to drink.
Yeah.
And, you know.
I wouldn't get past first. Saturday I went out for dinner. Now, granted, I was very dehydrated and I hadn't had any food since early during the day, and somebody bought me a double.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm dehydrated and it's liquid, and I just slammed it. And I go to eat my burger about 5 minutes later, and I'm looking at the burger, going, "Why is it moving?" Right? It's just like no alcohol, no food in my stomach at that point. I'm not. Listen, I'm not originally from Wisconsin. Listen.
No,
If
he's a
you
transplant.
allow somebody from Wisconsin into the drinking competition, you should probably let me in because it's going to help you out, right? So I don't drink a lot and already dehydrated. All that, just everything to do wrong before having alcohol, and like normally a double is not going to make me kind of like, wait, why is the world moving a little bit slower than it should be, right?
Yep.
And just like went to eat my burger. I had to set it down. I'm like, okay, I got to take a break here before I eat this sandwich. Try shoving it up my nose or something.
That's awesome.
So there was a comment that says Italians are getting to CAS. They had
A contingent of Phoenix is here. Cowboy action shooting.
Yeah, I know what CAS was. I'm like, I want to know what he meant by Italians. Like a group of Italians traveled over to.
Yeah.
So is Phoenix a major match or something like that?
Yeah, Phoenix has a major match, and I'm not surprised because the Italians make some pretty good Ubertis, and that's a popular current made pistol.
And shooting sports is huge in Italy. So
trap is big. I think they've got a pretty good IPSC contingent too.
Yes, I have a couple of people that I've come into contact with through the podcast over the years that are IPSC shooters in Italy. So it's always fun using the translator to talk to them.
Translator's definitely got there.
What's that?
Answer Clifford Zach. It's not a dumb question. Some guys do use black powder. It's just a little bit messier. That's all.
Yep.
All cartridges at that time were loaded black powder, so they don't mind it at all. There's a separate classification if you are shooting just black powder and everything. Makes for a lot more noise, a lot more smoke, but that's all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I felt bad for the guy. We heard a big bang one time.
Chain fire? Chain fire?
No. He pulled through both triggers on a 10 gauge with black powder.
I've done it with a 16, and that's not a big deal. But a
10 gauge, yeah.
So
please tell me he was loading his own ammo and they were downloaded.
No, probably not.
Damn.
Because I was on another bay over the way and we heard it pretty good. It's like, oh.
So normal smokeless with a shotgun, it's not like getting hit in the shoulder with a sledgehammer. Shooting black powder with a shotgun is like getting a 12 gauge is like getting hit in the shoulder with a sledgehammer.
Yes.
Black powder has a lot more recoil. I've shot a 12 gauge and pulled both triggers. I'll never do that again. I can't imagine doing it with a 10.
Oh, we knew who it was. He was walking kind of funny.
I'm sure. He's lucky he didn't slip it and break his collarbone.
And so.
But yeah, my shoulder just hurts thinking about that. Gosh.
Listen, if I know I'm going to pull both triggers on a 12 gauge, I got no problem with that. I'll do it. I mean, I'm not going to do it more than twice, in a given day. But, I guarantee you, I'm going to prepare for that. But, I mean, I've shot 10 gauge, and there isn't a light recoiling 10 gauge out there. right?
No.
I don't even care
No.
if it's, I don't care if he was running smokeless powder with that 10 gauge. He pulled both triggers. He regretted it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
absolutely.
And
So
then
Viejo 2A said, keep the phrase spaghetti western in mind, re the Italian CAS shooters. So you're saying they look like Tuco?
they could. Yeah.
And then Raggle Fraggle wants to know what's the most interesting gun you've seen someone competing in cowboy action with.
Probably a Colt Lightning slide
Wow.
action. Yeah. They're since they were made prior to 1900, they're good to go.
Yeah.
And the one thing he had to remember always when he pulled it out was it's a different hold when you're shooting it compared to a lever action.
Yeah.
You're pulling back with your strong hand and you're having to, rack it with your weak hand. And it's the other way around. So I was going to say to Alaska Russ, do you know if your 3-screw Blackhawk, if he sent it in for the upgrade for the transfer bar? And if not, I would suggest not doing it.
No.
Because it takes away some of the crispness of the action.
That also destroys the value.
That too. Because I bought one that did have it done. And I got all the parts for it to put it back if I wanted to, and I haven't done that. And I bought one that it hasn't been done on, and I like that one a lot better.
Yeah, you're not the only one I've heard that. So we actually got a pair of 3 screws in that had been converted back when I was working at Bass Pro. And a guy came in and wanted to look at him, and he goes, oh. And the guy that was helping him goes, what? And I looked at the guy, I go, let me guess, converted 3 screws. And he goes, damn it. Yep. And so I went back, and the parts were there, so he bought them. Because all the parts were there. And I said, well, the parts are all here, so you can put them back. And he goes,
so for the uneducated in the room, what are we talking about?
Okay, so the original Ruger pistol, the single action pistol, whether it was a 22 or it was the center fires, had a 3-screw side plate. And that is how you could tell if it had the transfer bar safety. So basically what it is if it's the original 3-screw, the hammer can drop and fire no matter what, just like your original single actions. What Ruger did is they put in a transfer bar safety on it. So you literally, the only way it will fire is if you cock the hammer all the way back and then pull the trigger.
And when you pull the trigger, it lifts a transfer bar up to allow the firing pin to come through. It's basically a firing pin block kind of a thing. Yeah. It won't fire unless you have the pin all the way up to let it go all the way through.
And the catch is you have to actually bring the hammer all the way back too. That's part of the catch with it. You can, because I've actually tried it with my single 6 just for fun. You can pull the hammer almost all the way back and have the trigger held down and let the hammer slip, and it will not go off. The only way it will go off with the transfer bar safety is you literally have to cock the hammer all the way back and then pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So both my single 6 and my dad's single 6 are post 3 screws. So, but so yeah, that's why you're going to hear people looking for 3-screw Rugers, because the action is better. It doesn't have that extra step and extra essentially stress on the action. And the extra, by adding that extra step, it's not quite as fast. Plus, you can't wire the hammer back. You can't wire the trigger back.
I'm assuming that in cowboy action, wiring the trigger rack is a no-no.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes.
So what you do is you just hold it back with your finger and continue to fan the hammer with your thumb.
Uh-huh.
And that's what most of the guys do.
I'm assuming they also lighten the resistance on the hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Get out your stone and away you go. So, if you're lucky enough, you find one of the old single action armies that is in decent shape, and they're usually pretty worn in for you. But I had a guy that we brought in 15 different single actions. This is back when it was still Cabela's rules, so we could bring him in without having him pay for them. But we brought in 15 different single actions for him to look at, because that's what he was doing, as he was buying them for SAS. We actually found one from 1890 and brought it in. So I actually got to hold a single action army from 1890. That was cool.
Yes, it would
Be
be.
better if you got to shoot it.
That would have been really cool. But he's even not going to shoot that one. That one, we've just happened to get lucky. It was this store in Texas had literally just bought it earlier that day, and they knew that we were looking for single action armies for this guy, and so they called us up and they said, "Hey, we got this one," and they said, "We go send it." So we got it, and it was, guy only paid like $2,800 for it.
Wow.
Right? Well, I think they only paid like $1,000 for it. So that's what happens when you get people's grandkids that don't know what firearms are worth and just want to get rid of the guns because guns are icky.
Well, if you're selling it to Cabela's, you just want to get rid of the firearm. So
Usually. So, but yeah, so that was kind of one of the cool things I got from that. But at some point in time, I'll have to. The goal is to get a lever action in 38, 357, and then get. I'd like to get a pair of Vaqueros, but
There you go.
We actually had right before I quit, we had a pair of Vaqueros come in. But this was a guy that was a serious revolver collector. They were immaculate. There wasn't even carbon rings on them. So, but
yeah, you're talking about holding one of the old guns in your hands. You know, I enjoy that every time I shoot that Marlin 93.
mm-hmm.
But the Danish contract 1867 rifle. I mean, the way I describe it is, it looks like the rifle from Quigley Down Under, because it's got the same kind of sights on it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who shoots is like, oh man, it just shoots so nice. You know, I can't say enough about it. So, but yeah, when you're shooting the old guns, and
that reminds me of the Quigley match that's out.
Yeah.
That I would love to. It'd be just a cool match just to go and watch, but
Yeah.
it'd be better to shoot. But you know,
Yep. I mean, and I'm sure, you know, the Milsurp Duo guys can say the same thing. When you're shooting the old guns that are 100 years old and shoot just fine, it's like, what more do we need?
Yeah.
lots of things, but you know,
Right?
I won't say no to a new gun. I'll take
why
it.
do I have to choose? Why make me choose? I want it all.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like why are guns so awesome? Because a new gun doesn't get jealous of the old guns, and the old guns don't get jealous of the new guns. So, what's one lesson that you would love to pass on to everybody about reloading for cowboy action?
Take your time, just as anything else you're reloading, especially with your cowboy action loads. If you're not using a powder like Trail Boss, because you're loading so light, it is very easy to double charge a load.
Okay.
When you're only using 2 grains of whatever in a 38 case, and you do 4 grains, it's very hard to tell that you've done that.
Yeah.
So when you're loading that light with a double charge, question. So if you're with a double charge now, other than having a lot more energy as far as feel in the hand, probably not going to have the issue of gun damage, correct?
Correct.
Just because okay.
Yeah,
So
and on
a triple charge would be devastating, but a double charge,
yeah. And on the flip side of that,
surprise yourself, but
it's not on the rare. It's a little bit more common, I would say, to have squibs because you are loading so light, and just to be aware of that when to know what a squib feels like.
Yeah.
That's probably the bigger issue that a lot of guys have, at least with loading that light. Except for the revolvers, on lever action, you won't chamber your next round. Ask me how I know.
Why? How do you know?
Fortunately, I've never fired after I've had squibs, and I've never fired a second round. So,
Yep, I had to set my rifle down trying to figure out why won't this thing chamber until I got back to the unloading bench to get it out.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the best word, because like my PCC, I guarantee you, I could probably get 5 or 6 rounds. Like, just keep pulling the trigger. But if you have that, that's good. But it's one of those things that you as a shooter really do need to be aware, and hopefully your ROs are paying attention when they hear it, because they'll usually hear the difference. Now, granted, when you're lighting shooting as light as you are, that difference is probably not as significant as with my load. And I'm not running heavy loads, right? I'm, running, either, low end of book, or even as much as a half grain below book. Right. So, but I'm not, I'm running a 100 grain bullet. So I'm using, N320, and I'm running, I think 4.2 grains, 4.3, somewhere like that, of N320 that I'm in book, right, with that load. But I downloaded it down to, was it 3.6? I couldn't tell the difference between the 4.2 and the 3.6 as far as the way it felt. So I went with, I'll just take the extra speed, right?
Right.
Alaska Russ said Duelist 1954 shows a lot of the old black powder revolvers on his channel. So, and then Raggle Fraggle 2567 said, speaking of Clint, did you hear he finally retired a week or so ago?
Are we sure about that?
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed who we were talking about with
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the man's been doing it for a long time and retired. If he gets the bug, he'll make another movie.
Yeah. 97 now, they said. So.
And honestly, I think he's gotten better as a filmmaker as he's gotten older.
Oh yeah.
So. I've loved, like, probably his last, in the last 10 years, a lot of people like,
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino was great. There were just a number of them that he made that were really good. Just because they were a little bit different than what he'd done in the past and stuff like that. There were some of the American Sniper. Obviously, he did that one, which I enjoyed it, but it was not necessarily, not even remotely close to a top probably 20 as far as movies he's been involved with.
Mm-hmm.
Just phenomenal. Just And I think he's one of those things. Just he got better and better. Unforgiven is the one I was thinking of. Honestly, I mean, Unforgiven. It was a good movie. I think he's got a lot better movies out there.
Yeah.
Right. And that was his big one as a director. Right. Was just that was his and rightly
That was
so.
one that kind of really set him as a legitimate director, because his previous was The Bridges of Madison County, and everybody's like, seriously? So,
But I mean, the guy shows he's got range.
yeah, exactly. So, I had a question. I forgot what it was.
So here's a question for Todd.
Yes.
Do you wear a cowboy hat?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, it covers up this, nice shiny thing there. Got 3 or 4 to choose from when I go out.
Nice.
Very, very, it's changing up,
So what's your favorite style cowboy hat?
Probably, well, I just bought a Bradford hat, which, I had to get that one. And I have an original Calvary cover that I wear. That's black that I usually wear.
So what's the shape of your Bradford?
Regular brim. Yeah, it's
I've been watching. I've been like doom scrolling, and there've been a lot of hat makers that have been popping up that I pay attention to, where they're doing like the I can't remember some of the names, but like just the different styles and stuff like that. Just kind of neat. Guys, like literally in 15 minutes, he's pumping out this real cool, different looking hat, and it probably is a little bit longer than 15 minutes, but they're all relatively pre-shaped. He's just doing the finish stuff,
finishing them up. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just your standard regular looking cowboy hats that I'm not too fancy about anything.
Now, here's a question. Can you wear a bowler or a derby?
Sure.
Why not?
Okay.
Why not?
Well, I know there's rules on what type of hats you can wear. So that's what I was kind of curious.
If
bowlers and derbies were around.
Yeah, they were around at the time frame, so.
And there were a lot of guys, wearing like a lot of early, guys, Irish guys coming over there. Like cowboy hats actually were probably later on the scene than some of the other stuff, right?
Right.
Because nobody in Europe was wearing them. Until you get to the United States and Australia, really, where you had to have something to keep the sun off your.
When you're out on the range, you had to have the wider brim. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Raggle Fraggle wants to know what's your boot preference. I'm guessing he probably is meaning square toe or round toe.
Square toe. My feet fit better in them.
Yep.
I don't need, again, nothing fancy. Just what works.
Yep. I actually have both.
Chaps or no chaps?
No. No chaps.
So
sometimes a vest. Just depends on what I grab that day.
Yeah.
And our cooler months, I may wear a serape or a full coat, depending on what it is.
So if you can't get Trail Boss, what do you use?
Unique.
Okay. Is that pretty much common across the board, or?
Yeah, I mean, and luckily, earlier this year, late last year, I ran into a store that had gotten in a shipment, and so I was able to stock up again. So I've probably got 10 pounds of Trail Boss right now.
Nice. Yeah, I know Hodgson finally got some. So.
Yeah.
And
it was still a decent price at about $40 a bottle.
Yeah. Well, when I talked to Chris 2.5 years ago, he said that was going to be a goal of his, is to get Trail Boss back. So
right.
I know that was. huge.
I think
So.
what they did was they got a major run in and did it to see what the reception would be. And since it's hard to find again, it didn't last very long.
No. But yeah, they're working. I know that the goal is to make it a regular stock like it used to be. So, but yeah, that was my question I was trying to remember earlier. So, but anything else you want to share?
I have nothing else on the cowboy side of it. I mean,
so
I do have one action, but go ahead, Mike.
What's your most unique cartridge that you load for?
Probably the 6.5 Gibbs. Since I've got to make brass, I've got to had to develop some of my own loads for it. Between that and the 3.5 Moss.
3.5 Moss or 7.5?
7.5 Moss. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of funny when Nick and Ray were over in Normandy for the 80th.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually in Paris the day before on the 5th, and we got a 4956 in. That was gorgeous in 7.5. And I texted Nick a pictures, and he goes, "Are you screwing with me?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "I can't believe this. I'm buying a French gun while I'm standing in Paris."
Yeah.
So we did all the paperwork over the phone, and I shipped it to his FFL down in, or shipped it to one of the Bass Pros, because for some reason Bass Pro doesn't recognize CNRs as actual FFLs. So you can't ship directly to them because Bass Pros run by idiot lawyers. So
you'd think those idiot lawyers are from California.
I think they might be.
So bullet selection for cowboy action, for rifle and for pistol, is there something are you doing, like cast bullets? Are you looking for, are they running coated bullets, like modern coatings, copper coatings?
It's got to be all lead coated. Is okay. So no copper.
So no copper jackets.
No copper jackets.
No berries.
Okay.
But
like if I wanted to run like a blue bullet or something like that, it'd be fine.
Oh yeah, Missouri Bullet's a great place to go for them. They've got all the molds, decent prices to get them.
So same with the rifle.
Yeah, you'll use the same because you'll interchange your cartridges. So if you're using 38s, you'll just have 150, 238 cartridges and shoot them both in the rifle and the pistol.
Okay.
Back and forth.
See, now, so you're running the same loads?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And so when you shoot that out of the rifle, it doesn't move. Yeah.
No recoil.
So that's why you end up with squibs now and then.
Well, my youngest son, he's partial to my 94 Trapper and 45 Colt, so he's used a little bit more recoil on that. But yeah. But yeah, very little recoil on them.
Well, I mean, if you're running a 38 and you've got a 6-pound gun, it's very easy to get no recoil.
Yeah.
And a 6-pound gun is not a heavy gun.
No.
Oh.
I mean, if you're running, honestly, I'd be surprised. Most of those guns are probably in the 7 to 9 pound range, I would guess.
My Marlin is, yeah. It's got a 26-inch barrel on it. They give me crap that I can, why do you even aim? You can just stick it out there and touch the target with it. So I try.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm the one always saying, hey, let's shoot that one out there at 50 yards and see who does well.
I will say, shooting some USPSA and stuff like that, and shooting some of the other action sports, if you have to stick your gun out through the port, you're wasting time.
Yeah.
So that's the because a lot of times you actually want to be back from the window a little bit, so that way you can You don't have to dive in deep into the window, especially when you're moving station to station.
Well, see, that's what's different with cowboy shooting is most of our movement is just lateral. We don't go front and back.
Well, no, even lateral. Well, granted, you're not taking the gun to the new stations, are you?
Yeah,
You're
no,
you're leaving the gun behind.
you're leaving the gun there.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're not
Rick
trying to
has-
pull it back out of the window as you're moving from location to location.
On a couple stages, you might have a facade where you're sticking through a window, but usually you're just going open bays and going straight across. There's nothing
Okay.
to work around.
So don't have any of those old jailhouse setups
Sometimes you do.
where you might go like shoot your rifle 3 targets from this window and move over to this window and 3 targets or whatever it is.
Yeah, you might. On some of the bigger
Okay.
stages. Yeah, but not that common.
Rippon's got a regular and wild bunch, Ken.
Yeah, I'm fully aware. It's one of those things that
We have a ripping out here. I'm thinking, no, they don't. But you're talking back there.
yeah.
It's
Ripon,
it's
Wisconsin, and the one that Justin was a member or is member at
Conomowoc.
Yeah, Conomowoc. Both of those run cowboy action. I think at one point in time, Schultz did cowboy action. It wouldn't surprise me that there's cowboy action shooters occasionally up at Winnequa. They're not regulars.
Oh,
They
they've
definitely
got
don't
one in
have.
Poland.
I mean, there's lots of shooters in
There's
Poland,
lots of them,
and
yeah.
it's a big country.
Beloit, Glenwood, and
Oh
Holman.
yes,
And
I
Ripon.
forgot about Beloit. So Beloit's got a real interesting range for setup. I've been down there.
And if you want to combine USPSA and cowboy shooting, you do the wild bunch.
Yep.
Okay,
Have you shot wild bunch?
that's what.
I have not shot wild bunch. We have a couple around here. I just haven't been, time to go out to do them.
I'd be willing to bet that it's more of an IPSC and cowboy action than USPSA because USPSA has become more into high round count, lots of running matches. So, whereas IPSC's more about the precision and less about the athleticism.
Well,
it still pays in, but
yeah, I'm just getting it. You're using a 1911 and a 1897. That's it. So, yeah, cowboy shooting. That's where when I was looking at a couple of other disciplines, I was surprised. You just keep shooting. You don't keep track of time, really. But no, we just keep shooting. Like cowboy shooting, if you miss, you get penalized.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's where the big thing when
so no reloads on the clock, basically.
You could, but then everybody's reloading 5 or 10 or whatever it is, so you have that same time frame. But if a stage of 10 pistol and you miss one, that could be a 5-second penalty. So yeah, it starts adding up when you miss 2 or 3 in a stage.
Yeah, real quick.
But then again,
trust me, the easiest way to shoot faster in any discipline is to not miss.
that is correct.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions in the chat, and I don't really have any more for you. Ken, you got any more?
I don't, but I will say that I've enjoyed talking to you about cowboy action, and it's something that I would be interested in, but probably not at this point in time because I got too much money going out for other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, just like any of the shooting sports, it's not cheap on your initial outlay. It adds up real quick.
Well,
And honestly, the initial outlay tends to be the cheapest part.
Over time,
Over time,
not for the outfits and the rigs, and because you got to remember, It's got to be leather.
Yes. Got to be leather.
Anybody run leather over Kydex?
No.
Nope. Not allowed. I saw that in the rules.
Yeah.
No plastic, no nothing but leather. No shell, no fancy newer shell holders or anything.
Yeah,
Cartridge
everything
shell.
is leather.
Using modern plastic shells, though, for your
Shotguns, yeah.
Yeah, trying to find paper or brass, a little tough at times.
Although Federal
you
started
know
making
anybody that does run paper or brass in competition?
Brass, I've seen. Paper, I haven't seen anybody running those.
Federal started making paper again.
I've seen that, yeah.
And allegedly they're reloadable. So, but reloading paper is a pain in the ass. So, well, I suppose on that note,
Well, if Fraggle's still on, we can go over his match times.
yeah, if you want. Fraggle, you still there? I can't get rid of that stupid question. I don't know why. It popped up. I put it up there and I can't get rid of it. So it's been there the whole time.
Yeah, it looks like he's still there.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
great.
says nobody's tried to sell a plastic liner in between leather layers.
Not that I've ever seen.
They check for it. It says in the rules they'll check for it.
Yeah, the bigger matches, they'll check everything. And just like, all the competitions, they'll have the chronographs out there to check your loads.
All right. I will be right back.
Okay, so I've pulled up his scores in the match, and I've pulled up his individual scores. That's the nice thing about practice score. It's very, very useful. Although I don't like the new format as much as I did the old one, but it still works. All right. So looks like what I can tell from his score here is he has shot a 6-stage match. Okay. So 6-stage match. Usually 6-stage matches you don't see outer limits, which is the only Steel Challenge stage where there's movement. You start in either the left or right box, depending on what hand you use. If you're left-handed, you're going to start in the right. If you're right-handed, you're going to start in the left. There's 3 boxes on the stage. They're all 6 foot apart. You're going to go from. So most of us are right-handed, so we're going to go from the left box to the center box. The left-handed shooters are going to go from the left to the center, or right to the center. Sorry. But we'll start with 5 to go. 5 to go is a very technical stage. It is not a super fast stage. His total time of 15:92 as a first shooter, I would say he did a pretty good job. So if we look here, 15:92, shot it. I believe that's that's probably match percentage. Could be. Let me confirm what that information is. What division did he shoot? That's another big question. Line time. Fraggle, what gun was that? What division were you shooting? No, I don't want this one. Of course, I want to do that. Let me pull it back up. Okay, so it is compared to the fastest shooter. Okay, so it's not the peak time, which we really care more about peak time because if you're comparing yourself against the fastest shooter, if you're shooting, okay, so it's rimfire rifle optics, so that's pretty good. So 15:92, 5 to go. I'm shooting that personally at somewhere around between 9 and 10 seconds on a slow, 8 and 9, and sometimes higher than the 10 second. But realistically, I want to be sub 9 second with rimfire rifle optic. Now, keep in mind, I am a GM shooter, so it's not a fair comparison to compare my time to his time. But so 1592 for your first match, 5 to go is pretty good. And he's shooting exactly what I would expect to see because his numbers are kind of all over the place. First string was 428. And if you'll notice that it's X'd out with a red, that was his throwaway. You get 5 strings, you throw one away. So that meant that was a slower one, 4 to 13. Then he sped up. We got a 386. That 386 is actually a pretty good time. So I'm usually somewhere in the twos. Really want to be, if I'm really on my game, I'm shooting at about 2.2 seconds. I can get below 2 seconds. Can't do it consistently. So that's where at. So 413 to 386 for a good shooter. He's also got another one of 365. So those are really good times. Those are really good strings, and you're consistent. The 496. Why did it keep a 490? It must have dropped worse string though. 428. Was there a mic on that or something? And it's just not showing up because the 496 is actually slower, but it's consistent. So he did well there, especially for a new shooter. Showdown. All right. Well, he
and he's joining us.
He's oh, sweet. Well, we can ask him some questions. So he struggled on Showdown, and that's going to happen in a new match. A 30-second time for new shooters could be malfunction, simply missed the stop plate. A number that's not uncommon for new shooters. Now, if I look at those 2 strings that were decent, so his second and his third, those are decent times. For a new shooter, that's. So Showdown you struggled, but it shows promise. Showed some Smoke and Hope. Now, a lot of people look at Smoke and Hope and go, "Oh, that's the easy stage." You have 4 massive plates. They're at about 7 yards away. These are big. Go ahead, Reverend.
Okay. All right. So the reason stage 2 has, or was it stage 3? One of them has a bunch of 30-second markers, or stage 2. So I was shooting a integrally suppressed 22, and the shot timer was having a hard time picking it up. So they just marked me as zeroed out, or gave me 30 seconds for all rounds for that. And then I had to swap rifles. So,
all right. So I would say that is not your fault. That is 100% the ROs doing you a disservice.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they should have noted that you were running an integral suppressed 22 and said, "Listen, we need to loan you a different gun." But if they can't pick it up with the shot timer, it's a reshoot per the rules. So, it is what it is. So and
I was also
go ahead.
Also, I was having a lot of trouble. I was trying to run 25 round mags, and they were just not having a good day. So every time I would shoot, I would have at least 1 jam, and I swapped that out too. So,
yep, and that's listen. Malfunctions are part of this game, and they will listen. This weekend, fortunately, I had 2 malfunctions. With both of my rifles, I had a light pop. What happened was either the bullet, because I'm running the real lightweight bullets, either didn't get seated deep enough or didn't get crimped, and the bullet fell out. So it was just powder inside of a case, and I hit the primer and it goes pop, and we stopped. I went, checked it. when I went back to the line to shoot, I could see the bullet sitting on the ground. So fortunately, it wasn't a squib. So that happens. You had Smoke and Hope. Unfortunately, that's the one that they probably forced you to swap because that one's your third stage. But a 2.63 for a new shooter is a good time, right? So that was a good string, right? So and we can't go on your total time because you kept 2 30-second times. But Smoke and Hope is a tricky one. Because it's a very fast stage that is really hard to shoot very fast. Because it's a really wide transition. So you've got 4 plates that are really big. They're about 7 yards. And everybody looks at them, well, I can't miss those.
Yeah, you
Yes,
can.
You can.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, these are 12 by 14 plates. They're massive at 7 yards, right? These are bigger than my chest, right? Like you take my torso, these plates are bigger than, right? At 7 yards. I mean, point shoot, right? It's very easy to miss. So you've got them, but it's a really wide transition, right? And that transition is going to eat up a lot of time. So I'm seeing a 2.63 on my screen here, right? That means on that string, you handled that transition fairly well, right? Mm-hmm. And this is your first match, so we're looking for what looks good, right? And a 2.63 tells me you handled that transition well. Now the 15.70, I'm guessing malfunction. The 30s, that could be the integrally suppressed issue. That could be malfunctions as well, right? Because you can't get over, you can't shoot in the 32nd on any one string. Could be. Did you have any penalties where you missed the stop plate?
No.
Okay. So that tells me that just tells me that those are either you had a malfunction, it just took too long, or we had the issue with the integrally suppressed rifle. Outer limits. Now this one's a tough one. 2358. It's your first time shooting something like it. Do you shoot any other action sports?
No.
Okay. So that one could straight up be you're a new shooter. It's your first time moving between boxes in this type of situation. 2358, that's, nothing to be worried about. The 1989, well, that shows from your first to your second string, you improved significantly. Then we see from your second to your third going down to 1441. That is a huge improvement. And it shows me you're starting to catch on. And a 5.63 on Smoke and Hope as a first, or on Outer Limits as a new time shooter, that is phenomenal, right? That was a really good string for a first time shooter, right? So that right there is, I'm really impressed with that time. Me right now, I'm looking for acceptable is 4.2 or less. Really, I want sub 4s, right? And I've been doing this for quite a while, right? So you're looking at that 5.63 and realizing that's little second and a quarter, second and a half, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. That is a phenomenal string. You should be happy with that. You should be very happy with that. Looking at pendulum, 460, 440, 366, 371, 338. Okay, that right there is a perfect stage. Now, can you shoot it faster? Yes. All right, so we're looking at that. We got a 460, then we go to a 440. You got faster. You got a 366, massive increase in speed, right? Then you get a 371, 366. It's the same time, even though it's not the same time. It's the same time. I can tell you exactly
what happened on that one because it bugs me to this day. When I got to the last plate, or the second to last plate before you shoot the stop plate, I pulled a little too early before I got onto it, and so I had to shoot twice. So my
makeup
follow-up
shot. So
tipped up. Yeah.
a 371 with a makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is a very good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had a 366, then you had a 371 with a makeup. So that tells me that you were probably on that same pace for the 338 you shot in your final string,
Probably.
right? So those last two strings, even with the makeup, that and the fact that your makeup was that quick, that you shot that pendulum near, that was exactly how you want to shoot any stage, right? You want to start with a speed and get faster. Now, hopefully you start with a good speed, right? So let's say you started with 366, you shot, and then you go to 371, you're in that same ballpark, and you've got four strings in the 36 to 37, right? Now, when you get to that fifth string, that's when you want to, when you've got four good scores all in the box, you've got them, you're doing well. You get to that fifth string. Now it's a zero or hero moment. You're going to get into that box and you are going to shoot as fast as your eyes and arms can possibly go. You're going to have, on a great day, you're going to hit all five plates. More often than not, you're going to miss at least one plate. But you're going to do it so fast that you don't have time to make up that shot. It's okay because it'll become your throwaway and you don't care because you've got four good times already. So really impressed in how you shot pendulum, especially for new shooters. And that's just looking at the times. Now, roundabout, arguably, roundabout and showdown are the two probably fastest stages. Now, roundabout, a 5.62, 781. So those aren't great, but a 382, we're seeing it. We're seeing a little bit of improvement there. A 276, a 338. So your last strings were good. A 276.
Yeah. So
a
what
276.
happened on the first two strings? The first time I shot, I forgot to reload my magazines. So shot, didn't realize what was going on. Had to reload in the middle of it. Did it again, thinking maybe I grabbed the wrong one or something. Did it again, and so I was like, no. And luckily, some guys just threw a couple mags at me, like, here, these are loaded, go, go, go. So
Good.
we picked it up in the last three.
Yeah, and so, but I'm looking at that 276. So roundabout, when I'm shooting it well, I'm about a second faster than you. Right.
Okay.
So my good times where I'm not, screwing up, I'm not making a lot of makeup shots. Now, granted, I can shoot it in 176 and have makeups, but that's rare. So I'm about a second faster than you on that. So that 276 time for your first match is awesome, right? That's a great time. Realistically, if you keep shooting Steel Challenge right now, like if you were to go back and shoot this weekend, I would say you want four strings in the 338 range, right? 338, 3 to 3.4, 3.2s. Anything faster than that's great. But as a new shooter, that's great. So let me go ahead and pull up some scores here. All right, so now we'll do a quick. Now this is a full. Let's go ahead. Where was I anyway? I don't remember. Oh, here I am. RFRO. So this one is a full 8 stages, but we'll compare. So 5 to go. My throwaway was 230. I don't know why it's red. Dropping worst string. Don't know why it's showing it that way. So actually, my worst string was a 337. 5 to go. I had a 230, a 216, a 217, 220. Now that is a very good 5 to go for me. As far as times, I shot that fairly well for me. Anything under 9 seconds is good for me. Showdown. Now this is one of them that you had a lot of issues with. So I'm shooting showdown in 1.7s, 1.8s. Oddly enough, I'm kind of surprised I didn't go for it on that one. Maybe I did and just didn't. Maybe it was a makeup or something. I don't know. Just kind of because usually if I've got these times across the board, that fifth string is either really really fast or it's my throwaway. Smoke and Hope. This was one of them. This is one of them. You definitely had three of them. So that one, oddly enough, not super great for me. Because I ended up keeping a 206 and a 203. Smoke and Hope, I really want to be in the again in this 1718 range. Outer Limits at 1302, not great, but I mean my throwaway was about where your best one was, right? Which is saying something. 408 wasn't bad. 449. So the 449 is acceptable at my current skill level. It's not where I want to be, but it is acceptable. So that was actually a good stage overall for me, just not where I want to be because I really want to be shooting. And I've been struggling with this. My goal is to finally put a sub 4 second, like 3 sub 4 second strings together to get this number below 12. I haven't done it yet. I've gotten close. And I have had sub 4 second strings, just haven't quite put it all together. Accelerator. This was a pretty good run on Accelerator. And the 280 was probably a little high, but the 197 on Accelerator it's fast. Now, like World Champions, they're shooting at 1.7s to 1.5s, if not faster. And the difference between a 1.7 and a 1.9 at this level is pendulum. This was not a good pendulum, as you can see. So it had a 336 that I kept. Throwaway was a 442. Had a 260, a 317, a 230. Now, realistically, I would have wanted 4 strings in the 2-3. So that was definitely not a good stage for me. With this particular division. Then I shot speed option, which you didn't shoot, which was actually a decent score, not great. But, I don't shoot it well, so I survived that stage. And then roundabout you shot as well. Again, I kept a couple over 2, but realistically I want to be in that 1.7 range. So just to kind of compare, just kind of give you an idea of the times I'm looking at, but you shot well. You showed moments of first match. Okay, you if you keep at it, you'll get more consistent and you'll see those numbers that. So I was impressed with your times. Obviously you had malfunction issues. Those are always killer and they're fairly common for new shooters. So especially with Ruger 1022s. So yeah, if you enjoyed it and you get a chance to go back, do it again, you'll get better.
Oh, I definitely did. Like, I just need to clean up my act, get a better setup going. Obviously not integrally suppressed. I told him probably until I can put a good rifle together, I'll probably do rimfire pistol, non-optic, or open sight.
Okay, so you'll do iron sight pistol, which is perfectly good. I mean, so I would recommend looking into. I'm trying to remember. Tandem Cross has a video. Now he overdoes the work on it, but if you have feed issues with I'm assuming you're using a Ruger Mark IV, Mark III.
I have a Smith & Wesson compact.
Oh, okay. So I can't help you with any troubleshooting steps on that if there's any malfunction issues. So
right, and I don't expect it'll be fast. It's not the greatest trigger in the world, but
it is what it is, and so. But your goal is to be consistently improving in speed. It's not to, you're not competing against anybody else at that range, right? Because the moment you start looking at their scores, you're not going to I don't care if you're last on the list, because part of it is if you're shooting an iron sight 22 pistol, and everybody else there is running optic pistol, or rifle, and I don't care what the rifle is, whether it's irons or not. They're going to kick your butt, right?
Oh, yeah.
Your numbers are not going to be comparable. So, and you do have a, no, that's actually my USPSA. I was going to say, do you have a USPSA number?
No.
You didn't. At least you didn't register. So my recommendation is one of two things. If you're going to continue shooting and doing it a lot, get a USPSA number. If you're not going to do it a lot, there's an app called Match Tracker, right? And it's a pretty simple app. And what you can do, let me pull it up here. So find it. So you'll be able to see it. So there, the Match Tracker icon, if you can see it, that is the app you're going to use. It does cost a little bit of money. I think I don't think it's above 15, but I think it's like $5. You get in here and you can pick whatever division you want. And while you're at the matches or after you're done shooting the matches, you can put all your numbers in and you can easily track them from match to match. So that way you can do that. You can also look at Practice Score Competitor, and I think that one might actually be free. And that one is you'll have to search by the match and you'll have to update it, but you can track various matches. Like this was the last match I looked at. I don't think I'll be able to see it. But you can see your percentage that you shot for the match. You can see how you shoot for the match, but you can also see how your percentage is versus peak time, right? And so if you keep track of that peak time, right, and your percentage for peak time, you'll look at it and say, oh, well, I shot 45% of peak time. I shot 47% of peak time the next time. Well, I was down a little bit, so I was down to 46, and then I was up to 52, and, you can kind of keep an eye on that, and that allows you to track your progress without having a USPSA number.
Okay.
So, and if you get a USPSA number, you can. It's the same. You go to USPSA.org, you sign up, you pay your $35, $45. I don't remember what the membership is right now. You pay it, and then you just go to the steelchallenge.org, SCSA.org, I believe is the correct one, and then you just plug in your login information there, and then you can track your Steel Challenge stuff. And the good news is if you go shoot a USPSA match, it's all. It all carries over. So you just, one membership covers two different disciplines.
Okay.
And I believe if you shoot an IPSC match, it's the same. You'll use the same information for that. But yeah, I think you did very, very well, and I mean, definitely impressed on the roundabout 276. That was a really good time. Outer limits at 5.63. That was fast for a new shooter. That was very fast for a new shooter.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
I mean, there's a lot of guys out there struggling to get in the 5.6 range that have been shooting for years. It's a tough stage. It definitely is usually the especially the GM level. It'll separate a lot of the better GMs from the top. Better GMs will be a little bit better on that one. The lower end ones that's usually where you see the biggest difference. At master and lower, it is night and day difference. So 5.63 is you were on the ball. You were doing, what you were doing. You were doing it really well. So kudos.
Yeah, I was trying to get it. Yeah. I appreciate this, Mike. Thanks for bringing me on.
You bet. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, anytime.
Don't promise that. He'll make you come on more and more.
So, as everybody can see, I have found my Camerado hat, and I am wearing it. So, if you're looking for camouflage of different varieties, make sure you swing over to Camerado.com. Use coupon code RELOAD to save 5%. So, I was just looking back at my practice score. So,
Your last match from last year or whatever it was.
well, I went to my, I clicked on my score logs, and it looks like it just brings up
You kind of stopped in the middle of a.
Yeah, I was scrolling down and my brain went, no, the only one it's showing is my very first match from way back in April of 2024.
Huh.
Accelerator, Pendulum, 5 to go, Smoke and Hope, Showdown, Roundabout, or the 6 stages.
Well, that
So-
that would have been up at Ripon probably. So
Yeah. Yeah, all of you on the Gulf Coast batten down the hatches, gang. Looks like you're getting a possible hurricane. Right now it's just a trop, but they're anticipating it's going to grow. So I hope it doesn't. So here is your patch for Patriot Patch Company for Patch of the Month. So in blue, and you've got the ammo belt that spells out 250. America, established 1776. So, but you can swing over to our page, which I actually don't have the thing scrolling, but our page is firearmsradio.net/category/podcast/reloading-do. And then when you're there, you can click on support and join up Patreon, or you can, if you wanted to get one of the cool shirts or the cool little tumblers, you can hit on the merch button, and that'll take you over there, and you can hit up Southern Gals Crafts. So, and they also have a few other shirts and stuff over there to check out. So, but yeah, unfortunately, the Gulf Coastal collection get pounded. So hopefully that weekends out and it doesn't happen. Maybe we get lucky and make a sharp left turn. So, but hang in there, gang. Excuse me. Well, I don't really have anything else to say. Does anybody else? Once again, Todd, thanks for coming on. And
Anytime.
I may hold you to that. So, but yeah, it was fun. I've been trying to get somebody who shoots single action on here for many, many years. I grew up as a kid watching Westerns. So, you know, always playing cowboys and Indians and, you know, all that fun stuff. Had the cap guns and You know, the paper roll cap guns with the 2 holsters and the twin guns and all that fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
So,
I never had the holster or the caps to go with it, but
oh yeah, I had the whole thing. So, well, until I fired the cap gun off in the house, and I didn't.
I think we finally started losing ours when we took the whole box of rolls and hit them with a hammer.
Yeah, I dropped a 20-pound sledge on it.
Yeah.
I used to throw them in the campfire.
Yeah.
Do you remember the guns that would shoot the red strip caps?
Oh yeah.
And then they actually had like a little cutter. So when it would slam back into the cap, it would cut the cap and then it ejected out.
Yep.
Those guns go for a couple $100 a piece now.
Oh.
So
I guarantee you there's at least one or two of those that I had that are sitting in the middle of a yard somewhere that basically gotten pulled under by grass and whatnot.
oh yeah.
Or got thrown away at some point. And
Yeah, I know
some,
one of mine got thrown away. The other ones, I think my mom sold them all at a garage sale. So, Alaska Russ one said the only good hurricane happened in Vegas this week. Yes. Yep. Well done, boys. Well done. So, but on that note, keep your brass shiny.
take somebody to the range with you.
Shoot the old guns. They shoot just fine.
I like that. Support the Second Amendment. Support those who support the fight. Make sure you're paying attention to who you're sending your money to. Make sure you're also paying attention to who's running. As Todd can tell you firsthand, elections have consequences.
For the past 40 years, they have.
So make sure you're paying attention to who you're electing, both or at the local level, the state level, and especially the national level. So, but most importantly, gang, it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we do need to pay attention. Mental health is important. It's overlooked. It's swept under the rug, especially as men. You're just supposed to be tougher, blah, blah. But I can tell you personal experience. It's something you need to pay attention to because it will affect you in ways that you didn't realize. So, and if you're really struggling, 988 or 1-800-273-8255 from a landline. I say that because there are still people that have landlines. So, but make sure you're paying attention. Check in on your friends and family. People hide it really well, and you can only do so much. Unfortunately, there are people that will succeed, and the biggest thing you can do is to not beat yourself up that you failed them, because that doesn't do anybody any good. Because honestly, the bottom line is if a person really wants to end it, they'll figure out a way. And they'll figure out a really good way to hide it from everybody else until it's too late. So, best thing you can do is encourage your people that mental health is important and getting help is important, and it's not a chicken shit thing. They're not weak. They're not a pansy or a sissy or anything like that. If they go in to get help, it's important. And we in the firearms community, there is lots of help out there where you don't have to worry about losing your guns. Okay? So, keep that in mind as well. Thanks, everybody.